Happy Bobby Bonilla Day, everybody. This is Cory, and this is the O The Anthem podcast.
Wasn't it yesterday?
It was yesterday, but we can live on with this for a little bit. I mean,
Hey, it's going to live on for the next 15 years. So it is 8:33 p.m. Pacific. That makes it 11:33 p.m. Eastern, and O The Anthem is live from coast to coast, broadcasting from the #OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in beautiful downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for telling other people. Thank you for secretly grabbing people's phones and subscribing.
Absolutely.
We won't judge.
And, of course, you're watching right now on Facebook Live. You can follow The Anthem on Facebook. Make sure you turn those notifications on. It'll let you know every time we go live, and you can join us to be part of the show. Also, you can follow us on other social media, Twitter, Instagram, @O The Anthem. And if you're a glutton for punishment, Google+, which apparently had some errors this week. And so if you tried to reach us at +O The Anthem on Google+, you weren't able to.
I just imagine there was like a furious uptick in traffic on the Google+, and it's just like, oh, isn't it working?
And, of course, you can always join us and be part of the show. Text the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. And the number is open all week long. So if you do want to comment, you listen to the show on Tuesday along with everybody else, make sure that you do that. You come and be part of the show.
Somebody called this morning and didn't leave a voicemail, and I was left in the void about what it could possibly be.
That's very weird.
Yeah.
Another weird thing, apparently we don't have video right now. They can only hear sound. I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh, is that a...
Could be a glitch in the Matrix. No, they said they can hear the sound.
Oh, they can hear the sound, but they can't see the video?
Can't see the video. Well, so
Well,
obviously
maybe it's because we were talking about Google Plus for so long.
Yeah, we have some people who are listening along with us on Facebook. You can join us for every single episode, which we broadcast live on Facebook. So make sure that you do that. Come and join us. Okay, now apparently they can see us. So I don't know what's going on, but welcome to the show.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this on July 3rd, happy 4th of July tomorrow.
Yeah. If you're listening to it on the 4th because you ain't got nothing better to do.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July.
Yeah. Or as we like to call it, Canada Day South, which was this Monday.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so, of course, when we kick off this week, we haven't had to do it in a couple weeks because, thank God, it's been mostly over. But Cory wants to bring it up again, so here we go. Yeah.
Sportsball. Yes, and the big Sportsball news, and it's a really big story here in the greater Los Angeles area, is LeBron James has decided to bring his talents to Southern California.
L.A. Bron.
Yeah.
L.A. Bron with the L.A. Lakers.
Yeah. I saw some guy who purchased a billboard that said L.A. Bron on it, and I was just like, do you think he's going to be swayed by the billboard?
You got too much money, buddy. Too much money.
Anywho.
Share some of that over this way.
Patreon.com. In thinking about how LeBron has made his decision this week, and decided on his LA team, I would give everybody a quick update because one of the things I was worried about most when I moved out here is that I wasn't going to be able to not follow a sports team that I could go and see in person. Like it's important for me to have something that I can take in every once in a while. Like, you know, with the Capitals, I only get to see them like max 3 times a year if I'm willing to go to Staples Center, Anaheim, or Vegas.
Or all 3, if they happen to do that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, really, it's 3 opportunities to see the Caps.
Yeah.
Unless I see them for a week when I'm home. So it's nice to have, like, an extra team and stuff like that.
Sure.
And because LA has choices in these types of matters, because...
Choices.
Pretty much every single league has 2... LA area teams.
Wasn't there a thing we were doing? Something about choices? Fuck. Was my sister? My sister did
Club choices?
Club choices. It was PA, Felix PA.
Yeah, Felix PA.
Meet me at Club Choices. Anyway, go ahead. Choices. Go ahead.
So I figured since a whole season has passed, we'd go through real quick and see who the 2 of us are rooting for as our new LA teams. Like,
let me go first.
Okay.
Here we go. I don't care. There we go. And we're done. Oh, that's not true. Follow up some news that we'll talk about in a second. May make me care, but right now, I don't care.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I just do it to keep one particular person happy. And so I'll cheer for whatever team I have to keep them happy. Otherwise, I don't care. Okay, now we're done.
Quick run through. I'm going to start with the ones I care the least about.
Okay.
The NFL. I have decided I'm going to not root for either one of these teams. I'm going to start off first by already breaking it and saying I've chosen not to follow any LA team as far as football goes.
Sure.
Because I just don't give a shit. I hate what the Chargers did to their fans. I hate what the Rams did to their fans, and I don't really want to support either one of them. So I don't.
And for one of them, we'd have to drive to fucking Carson, which
We'd have to do it for both of them eventually.
Oh, that's right. They're both going to Carson. Yeah. So no, I'm okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'd rather just take the train to North Hollywood for the first game of the year. And then when everybody gets fined, I won't go anymore.
Yeah, and just watch the Ravens at
No. I'm boycotting the NFL if they fine players in week 1.
Okay.
That's it. I won't even go to the bar and watch them.
Oh, all right.
Don't want to support it. Can't do it. Can't support it.
When it comes to the other football, LAFC versus the Los Angeles Galaxy.
Does this really matter? That's what you have to ask yourself.
I'm going all in on LAFC.
Okay. I mean, we had a great time at the game.
Yeah.
The stadium's close, which you're already in the wheelhouse of what do I need? I need it to be close. I need to have a good time when we go. To be not too expensive, which I think we can check all of those boxes.
I mean, the expensive is a little, if you're paying $5 for a bottle of Coke.
Yeah, but that's relative.
That's standard to an experience at a ball game. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. And then, I mean, we got big beers for $8. So, I mean, you can't beat that. And the home cheering section was amazing. You guys heard us talk about our time at the LAFC game. But most importantly to everything else, it's like 5 minutes away. So
yeah.
that's really the key. I don't want to go wherever the Galaxy play. Where do they play?
In Carson.
Oh, hey, yeah. Nope, don't want to go there.
Nope, you broke.
You got it. Sorry.
Speaking of being convenient and close, I'm also going to make my official MLB team the Dodgers because I am more in favor of going across the street to Dodger Stadium than taking the train down to Anaheim, which half the time apparently doesn't even take you to the game. So
it doesn't?
Remember I tried to take the train to the Ducks game?
Wasn't running.
Yeah. So no to that. And because the Orioles are in the American League and the Angels are in the American League, I can't really do that with all the times they play each other.
Right.
Dodgers are more separate, so it feels like I can root for the Dodgers independently of what will be happening with the O's.
And perhaps most importantly, we may have a special reason to go see the Dodgers.
Because Mannyland
might be coming to Hollywoodland.
Yeah.
So if you guys have been paying attention to the news, apparently the Orioles are the only team, at least it was from a Baltimore paper, so I mean, who knows. But the Orioles have sent scouts to go check out the Dodgers minor league system. Mm-hmm. Now, you might ask, what does this matter? Well, first of all, the Orioles have one and only one asset by which to deal, right?
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
I mean,
Maybe prospect for prospect in the...
Maybe you can get a lower end guy for like a Zach Britton or
sure.
Adam Jones or Danny Valencia or something like that.
But I mean, Zach Britton at the end of last year, the wheels kind of came off, so I don't know.
And he hasn't been pitching well so far this year, so his value is not great.
Yeah. So anyway, the one and only asset they have, of course, is Manny Machado. Mm-hmm. And what we talked about a few weeks ago was that you're looking for a team that's going to make a push to the playoffs around midsummer. They're not going to give anybody on their team because what they want is to get Manny on the team and keep the squad they have to push to the playoffs. But what they will give, if they have a very rich farm system, is not the best prospect, because obviously the contract's over at the end of the year, and somebody's going to have to pay out the ass to keep him playing.
Right.
But, you get one half a season, you give up your 9, 10, 12, and 14 prospect.
Depending on where they are in the system. Yeah.
Sure, yeah. But, so it's a good sign that the Orioles have sent their scouts to check out the Dodgers minor league system. Could be a sign that Manny's coming here. And we could see him in a few more games before he inevitably goes back to an American League team like, the Yankees.
He might sign with the Phillies.
Really?
They might.
I mean,
they have money. They have money stashed away.
I guess they do.
They look like they're on the cusp of making something happen.
You also said Atlanta is in the conversation?
Yeah, Atlanta, because they're getting earlier or better quicker than they expected.
Right.
Arizona has apparently been interested.
Arizona's not bad. We could go see See him in Arizona.
Yeah,
That'd
just
be
take
a
a
nice weekend
nice
trip.
little 8-hour trip down to Phoenix, and
On the way to go to the ranch, we could. It's not 8 hours to Phoenix, is it? Because it's 9 hours to Mexico.
I feel like it's 8 or 10 hours to Phoenix.
I feel like super fan of the show, RTO Arizona could stop this conversation. Just let us know.
Well, I mean, I could also look it up on the maps too.
Well, he's joined us in the chat. We're very busy chat going on right now, so you guys are missing out if you haven't joined us on Facebook at facebook.com/O The Anthem, where we do broadcast every single episode live. Nonetheless, we could go see him in Arizona. If he was played for the Phillies, obviously we'd see him when he came to play for the Dodgers. But it would be great to see him in Dodger blue for a little while, that close. And I don't know that anybody in LA would care that much.
5 hours, 39 minutes right now.
Boom. So we just have to leave at a normal time and not during rush hour.
Right.
But I don't know that anybody would care that much about him coming to LA. Like, there's not going to be a huge turnout for Manny Machado coming to LA.
I mean, I think there will be some casual excitement. LA likes its stars, and,
Of course,
and Manny's a star player. And I would probably argue that with Seager out and Kershaw not pitching up to his usual standards, that Manny would be like the star on the Dodgers. That he would be the most talented player.
Are we going to get $1,000 nosebleed seats though?
No,
Right.
No, not for baseball.
We'll still
which
be
is
able to
another
go.
which is another reason why I've gone to more baseball games than I have any of the other sports here.
Right.
Just running through real quick because I only got 2 teams left. Let's
Yeah,
just
go ahead.
finish
Sorry,
this.
go ahead. Right.
With the NHL, it's the Kings, but honestly, I really like the Golden Knights, and I might call my LA team the one I go see in Vegas from time to time. Because and nothing particular about the Kings has made me go goo for them.
Mm-hmm. Have you even gone to a Kings game?
When they played the Caps.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, like I would go on a random night against like the Canucks or whatever. But I haven't.
Random $10 night.
Yeah. And the final one, coming back full circle. Mm-hmm. LeBron made his decision for the Lakers, and the NBA have decided to root for the Los Angeles Clippers, because I am not going to fucking do this. I am not going to become a Yankee fan. And that is essentially what this is.
Right.
If you start rooting for the Lakers right now, you are just in it for the wins. You're not in it for the punishment. For many years, I was in Capitals punishment. How will they decide to flog me this year? The Orioles. I've waited my entire life for a World Series. We've gotten pretty close a couple times.
Yep.
Like where we thought maybe if just the right occurrences happen, then maybe I can taste it.
And then we got swept.
And then we got swept. But I mean, like, still, there was at least the punishment, the feeling that you have to invest in it is important to me. And I've decided that I'm going to invest in the Clippers as opposed to the Lakers.
And much
I'm
like
not saying I won't. Not saying I won't go to a game, but I'm probably going to spend the entire time going like, oh, well, I kind of like how the Clippers do it better. I enjoy the Clippers board a little bit more. I enjoy the Clippers colors a little bit more. I'm going to be that person. I'm going to be the pretentious.
So you're gonna fit right in.
Yeah.
But
like all Clipper fans, I'm just going to be haters.
And you'll fit right in as a Cavs fan with the Clippers because they are many years away from a NBA title at this point. Like Blake Griffin's gone.
The Caps are many years away from an NBA
Well,
title.
no, you spent so many years in purgatory.
I don't know. I hear this Clippers team is not bad. So
yeah, but they're
not LeBron,
right?
But
yes.
you know,
I mean,
they're West, like the Cavaliers without LeBron.
The West is looking stacked.
Yeah.
Golden State's manning up. Kevin Durant's coming back.
Signing Boogie Cousins.
Got the center from Louisiana. LeBron's not the only one who's coming to LA. There are rumors that they're in the market for other players, and obviously it's attractive now that LeBron's in LA to get somebody else to come to LA. So
well, apparently Kawhi Leonard wants to come to Los Angeles, but he's still got a year left on his contract, so they got to figure out how to trade.
How do we get Carmelo Anthony to come play?
You go pick him up. I'm sure. You drive out to Oklahoma City, you say, no, you belong to us now. And he's just like, oh, okay. He gets in the truck and you drive him back here. That's how. You say to Oklahoma City, I would like to pay some of Carmelo Anthony's contract. And they go, we're listening.
How excited would you be if Manny came to the Dodgers, Carmelo Anthony came to the Clippers?
That would be fun for me. I would
Yes.
I would like a Melo in the Clippers.
Melo! I played against you in high school.
It's like during the real sad years of the Orioles, and you feel like you grow like Jay Gibbons is your guy. You're just like my man Jay Gibbons is gonna fix this problem. Meanwhile, you look at Jay Gibbons on like a regular team filled with good players, and you're just like, oh, he's not that good.
He's just the best guy we got.
He just looked really good by comparison to other bad players. Like
yes. So that's the rundown. Is there any other sports that you'd like to go through? Curling, perhaps?
No, I
chess?
think we've done all the ones that really matter to LA.
Favorite college team for college football?
I guess USC, right?
Yeah, there's only one answer to that question.
Yeah, USC's right down there.
Yep.
And
I wish we could go to a game, but there's no way. It sells out Rose Bowl every single week. So
meanwhile, the Rams barely get 20,000 people there.
To be fair, I think
half of them are just like, "Go Raiders!"
A USC game is probably like $15, and a Rams game is like $95 in the door with parking. So maybe that's a problem.
Yeah, perhaps.
And I would love to go to a USC game, but last time we went to the LAFC game and we were in the area, I had a lot of like mixed emotions about being down there.
Because you could have gone.
Because I could have gone. Yeah. I got in. I'm just being like, oh, this weather. If only I had known.
It's funny. I got Time Hop reminding me that this was like the day that I landed in LA for film school.
Right? Yeah.
So I had like a picture of the Sunset Strip with like the new Matt Albee and stuff like that. It was just like, oh, to be young again.
How many years ago was that?
5.
Woo. Woo.
To be young again.
All right. Well, before we get off topic.
Yes.
That's the end of the segment. So thanks for checking out Sportsball. And before we go too far, we got another great segment for you right now. Let's head on down to the Baltimore Corner.
Where you get the straight to?
Absolutely. So we do want to talk about a little bit of Baltimore news. A lot of good stuff, and by good, I mean terrible stuff happening in Baltimore. A lot of it revolving around State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby.
Yes.
Number one, we talked about last week that the election was coming up and everyone should go out and vote. And apparently you did. And you guys are stupid.
The exact thing that we said was going to happen happened on the podcast where me and you, who are two well-read people who can usually make these kind of calls as to who you should be voting for pretty quickly, were divided on the Ivan Bates discussion. And that's essentially what happened because half of the people who didn't want Mosby couldn't decide between those two. They both basically got 25%, and Mosby basically got 50%. So you're stuck with Mosby for another year because somebody can't back out.
3 years, 4 years.
4 years, I'm sorry.
But did you hear the news that came out after the election?
No.
Thiru apparently got a job offer from Mosby.
Really?
And guess what case he's going to be heading up?
Adnan
Syed's case. The retrial of Adnan Syed, which will be coming if they don't file the proper appeal, which, by the way, they filed an appeal and it was bad. And now they have the option to like refile a response. And guess who filed the bad opinion or the bad brief? Thiru. Yes. But apparently there are some whispers that Marilyn Mosby may have gone to Thiru, who was in private practice at the time, and said, hey, for some reason you're real up on this Adnan Syed kid. I'd love to offer you a job as whatever the highest assistant state's attorney is in Baltimore.
Deputy
state's attorney. And all I need you to do is to toss your hat in the ring and put in a good show because this Ivan Bates guy seems to be making a bit of a stink. And then he did. And
he muddied up the waters a little bit.
And now all of a sudden
I should have seen it coming though, because I mean, like usually I listen for the statements in the press. If I see a good patsy, I can usually sniff it out.
Yeah.
But he was good on his game. Like anytime I heard him on Dan Roderick's, he was just like, Marilyn Mosby has got to go. She is terrible for this community.
Yeah. Meanwhile, he's gonna go work for her. So good job, Baltimore. The one guy who was like, hey, why are we prosecuting marijuana? That seems really stupid. Hey, these two innocent guys, we should probably just stop wasting money on trials. But,
I saw when I was home, I saw the airwaves were littered with the campaign ads and stuff like that for everybody. And I always found it funny about Marilyn Mosby. Every single video of her looks like somebody is walking towards her with a scary mask on from across the street, and she just looked and saw it. And it's very much like this. It's just like, not that she's like scared, but that she's just like confused. Like she'll just turn and stare and be like, and it's like, that's her, like, I'm to be trusted with the caseload of Baltimore City.
I'm serious for Baltimore.
What's going on over there?
Which is basically how she's treated the job for the last 2 years. So, but she was happy to go out and take credit for freeing an innocent man this week as well. Mm-hmm. A man who's been in jail for 30 years for a murder he didn't commit. And she went out and took credit with her... God, what is the name of the group inside the Baltimore State Attorney's Office? It's Conviction Integrity Unit.
Yeah.
Conviction Integrity Unit.
Something like that.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, this is just good work based upon our Conviction Integrity Unit. And what they left out is that the Innocence Project did everything and then basically convinced the Integrity Unit to let it go.
Yeah.
One of the women on the Integrity Unit is the current state's attorney heading up the prosecution of Keith Davis Jr. for the 4th time this fall.
Can't make it up.
Yep. Only in Baltimore.
One other before we get out of the election.
Oh, yes.
Ben Jealous wins the Democratic primary. Any thoughts?
I am ever more sad that Keith Kamenetz died. Because
you think he would have had the runaway?
If he won, he would have had
Kevin Kamenetz.
Kevin Kamenetz, yeah. If there was one person who, if there was one person who had a chance to beat Hogan, it was him. I think that every vote that whatever the watered down ticket was eventually got were people who just saw Kamenetz on the ballot and voted for him. Because he has a familiar name. But the end result is, Ben Jealous is a Democrat. That's fine. He is a Democrat's Democrat, though. So
he's a progressive.
He is a progressive, not in the ways that make sense to me, really. But I don't abide by most of his platform. Let's just
he's splitting the differences between a Hillary and a Bernie, if you will.
Yeah, he does. Like it seems like it's a glass full of lukewarm water. You can make tea with hot water. And a nice, refreshing glass of cold water is great. It's been sitting on the nightstand all night, and you're real thirsty, and you drink it, and you get it down, but it's not good. That's basically what he is.
Glowing endorsement of Ben Jealous here on the podcast. Can't believe.
I mean, listen,
might as well put that in a commercial right now. Jealous for Maryland.
If we had any other Republican governor, he'd probably be a great alternative. But we have probably the least Republican, maybe in your estimation, the most Republican governor in the entire 50 states.
I mean, he's of any Republican currently in elected office, he is my favorite.
Yes, and he is a true, what you might think of as a true Republican.
Yeah, I mean, he's way more along the. He's kind of like what we used to call like a Gilchrist Republican.
Right. Exactly.
Like he's Democratic in all the ways that make sense. He's Republican in all the ways that make it seem like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And that just sort of hits right on Maryland. Like the problem is that, Hogan's popular, but if for whatever reason he becomes unpopular and some Republican to the far right of him runs for his seat, then that he might lose to another Republican at some point along the way in a primary challenge.
That's what would happen. It's the
primary.
That
whoever he would lose to there would get smacked down by whatever Democrat.
Right.
Like it would need to be somebody at least as moderate or to the left of him.
So let me tell you why Ben Jealous doesn't have a hope or prayer in Maryland. Because people on the Eastern Shore are stupid. There are a lot of like rich white progressives.
Hold on a second. Let me write a Medium article about this. Click, 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 click.
Hogan has done everything over the last 4 years to make himself appealing to center of the line Democrats, New Hampshire Democrats, which is what we have on the Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
And any independent voters would be swayed by, lower bridge tolls, which is the first thing he promised to do and the first thing he did when he became governor.
Yeah.
And the ads that they're running now are like, Hogan has saved the commuters of Maryland $490 million over 4 years just by lowering the bridge toll back to $250. And winner of the best election response tweet of the primary election in Maryland, Hogan. Do you remember the tweet?
If you liked Martin O'Malley, you're going to love Ben Jealous.
That's just
that's
just money.
That's savvy.
All right,
it's savvy.
That's a guy you don't want to run against, especially when he's the anti-Trump Republican. So
and has managed to be an anti-Trump Republican and avoid Trump's ire all at the same time, which is like flying low enough where you don't get the attention, but sticking him to him when And I think the Republican Party, and I assume somebody in the Republican Party just went to Trump at some point, and they're just like, just leave Maryland alone.
Yeah.
Because the more you get involved in Maryland, the harder it's going to be. We have a Republican there.
Yeah.
Let's rest on our laurels. It's fine.
Of the 6, would be 7, but I think it's back to 6 now, seats, we've got a Republican there too.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to do is to make it harder for those guys to win. They got a chance to win back District 5. 1 is Republican.
Yeah.
The other 5 are Democrats. But the way that they had to redo the districts, there's a chance of like them winning 5 again.
Yeah. Something tells me that the Democrats are probably going to have a very good night on election night.
Yeah.
But I don't imagine that Hogan would fall. I could see it where like I could see Andy Harris going down before Hogan.
Yes, especially because although my parents are still, one of my parents is still a staunch Trumper, there is a lot of souring on Trump, especially when the stuff hits from this week about the trade war that is going to go ever so badly for the United States. But before we get into that, I'd really like to touch on what I think is Cory's ideal Republican candidate. All right, go ahead. Yeah.
Are we still talking about primary stuff, or are we moving on to something else?
I was going to move on to something else. Do you have something else?
Well, I would be remiss. I know it's not Baltimore. It's nearby Annapolis, though.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
The tragic shooting at the
Capital Gazette. Yep.
My mom let me know today when I was talking to her that one of the guys who got killed that day lived on our street. Like, he lived down the street, and I didn't even know.
Yeah.
But it's like funny how these little things touch you. Not funny, but interesting.
Funny, strange.
How these things touch you. And I don't know. It's weird because like this story just seems so like it feels like everything that could have been done and should have been done, but then ended up not mattering in the end.
Yep.
Like where they tried to get a restraining order against the guy. They knew he was a problem. They knew he was a little bit off.
Yep.
And I don't think anyone assumes that somebody's going to come in and shoot up a place. But even when you're like really worried about somebody and it ends up happening, it's just like all of this for naught. It's like we were watching the Looming Tower.
Yeah.
And it's just like at any point they could have had this whole Al-Qaeda thing under control before the towers go down.
Yep.
But nobody wants to talk to each other and nobody wants to like do the right thing. I don't know. I just think it's incredibly sad. I feel bad for everyone there. And bravo to the paper for getting out another issue the very next day.
Yeah. Well, and if you want to know where this comes from, this tragedy falls squarely on the shoulders of one man whose response to it was, we can't be lowering the flags for every tragedy. The guy who, at each of his rallies between speakers, has, what is it called in 1984? A Minute of Hate. Did you ever read 1984?
I mean, way back when in the day.
Okay. So what they do is in the morning in the offices, they get together around the screens and then they show pictures of the public enemies and they just shout and hurl, insults and like hatred at them. And it's supposed to fire everybody up against the enemy. So during Trump's rallies, and of course Trump is what I'm talking about, in between speakers, a guide will come out and point out the fact that mainstream media is in the back of the room and let's let them know how we really feel about them. And literally between speakers, everyone turns around, faces the cameras, and shouts at them how they're fake news and we hate you and you don't represent us and all that stuff. And then we're surprised when, this guy had a little different connection, but we are putting media squarely in the crosshairs of crazy people.
Yeah.
And I can only blame the person who, from the very beginning of his campaign, has said that we shouldn't believe them and that they are enemies of the state. That a free press is an enemy of the state for some reason.
I would go further because I think that it's not just the people, not just the person who initially starts the trouble, but it's the people who fan the flame as well.
Yeah.
Like Milo Yiannopoulos this week saying like, good, all those people are dead.
Yeah.
It's just like if you're contributing to, can't we all? I feel like just general humanity 101. We should all agree that nobody should die if they don't have to.
Well, no, I mean, this is furthering my argument on why we should punch Nazis. Because if somebody had punched Milo, or more people had punched Milo in the face, maybe he'd shut the fuck up. And if he was dead, he couldn't tweet about other dead people. And I'd feel way worse. I'd feel less worse about his death than I would about innocent people who are just trying to get the news out.
Yeah.
But
moving on.
Yeah. So let's close up the Baltimore Corner here.
Where you get that straight dope.
Oh, that was pretty straight, pretty dope. Before we move on to the topics of the week, I want to say that your ideal Republican was in the news this week. And I've always wondered, why is it that Cory really likes this guy? And oh boy, was that question answered this week. Actually, today. You have any idea who I'm talking about?
No.
Ron Paul in the news.
Oh, God.
Go back probably starting at episode 3, and you'll hear Cory just
lavishing
praise on the Pauls.
No, it's so funny. Before we started here, I finished a podcast, so I turned on CNN just to see what's up. Mm-hmm. And Rob walks in. He catches the last couple minutes of Cuomo's show. And I thought I heard the sound of like the heavy machinery like chugging along when he was talking about that. It's like when Cuomo was doing it as like real like empathetic style. Like, this is something that people aren't talking about. This is a story that I feel like more people should be talking about.
Yeah.
And I just heard it in Rob's head going like, I'm just like, oh, somehow he's going to bring this racist nonsense onto the...
Well, I mean, true or false? You are a huge proponent of the Pauls.
No, I'm not a huge proponent of the Pauls. I'm saying I always leaned more libertarian than anything else, and the closest you could get to any of this was the Pauls.
Fact check. That's fake news. That is.
What are you talking about?
I want someone to go back through the podcast and find every reference that Cory has made to how fantastic the Pauls are.
No.
Start with the election of 2016, because I believe
you might
that Cory would said he was going to vote for Rand Paul in the election of 2016.
I'm sure you probably heard me say something like that.
And if you go back earlier, you'll hear him talking about the glorious Ron Paul.
To be fair, I would probably have said nice things about Rand Paul as far as like who you should have voted for in the clusterfuck Republican primary of 2016.
Yes.
But you would not have heard me say a similar thing about Ron Paul, other than the fact that Ron Paul was...
I'm going to have to radio check the entire history of this to find Ron Paul.
Just go through the search and see if Ron Paul's in there anywhere.
I mean, yeah, we could do that.
Yeah.
I guarantee you it's in the description somewhere.
Episode 1, like 15 minutes in, just you luck out and me going like, Ron Paul's just the greatest, isn't he? And you're just like, yes, got him.
Gotcha,
bitch.
So if you missed the story, in his zealousness...
It's so funny because I seem to remember like I was listening to like one of the things in the Time Hop or Facebook or something like this, and it was just like a clip from the show. And I don't remember what it was now, but it's just like one of those things like, do you think people are ever going to get off Donald Trump's back or something?
Saying that?
Or something like that. It was just like, no, it wasn't that.
He's a Trumper from the beginning.
It wasn't that, but it was something like that where I like look back on it and I'm just like, ooh.
A Trumper from the very beginning. You heard it here.
You were that's one though I remember for sure is the
by the
clip
end
that
of the
we
election?
put where you said I'm going to vote for Donald Trump.
Yeah, and you know why I said that?
To get everyone upset?
Burn it all down because none of it matters. Because if anything is going to get people upset, it's going to be Donald Trump. And we'll get to that in a second. I just want to make sure people are clear. Don't miss the story about Ron Paul. In his zealousness to throw shade at communists, by the way, if you really want to have an entertaining time, go find a Twitter, like a Twitter thread discussion about how socialism would never work in America. And in there somewhere, you're going to find someone toss out a reference to fire, police, schools, roads, and you're going to have someone, probably the originator of the thread, say something along the lines of, yeah, if we had socialism, we wouldn't have any of that. Which is always my favorite moment in the thread, when you just realize how ignorant the people are. But nonetheless, in his zeal to throw shade at communists, he retweeted or tweeted out an image of a political cartoon of communist manifesto, or
it's like one long arm connected to 4 entities, which are like,
and the arm is punching Uncle Sam in the face. Let me get that right up into the camera there. Punching Uncle Sam in the face. But if you follow that arm back, what you'll find is 4.
The hammer and sickle.
Well, yeah, that's in the middle. And then at the base of it are 4 of the most politically incorrect images you can find on the internet. So it's a Hispanic person, a black person, an Asian person of unclear but probably Chinese descent.
Well, an Asian person of like racist imagery descent,
yes,
like big buck teeth kind of.
Right. Yeah. And a Jewish person, and I say that only because it looks like the stereotypical ugly version of it. And the tweet was
the racist
deleted.
Political cartoon version of a Jew.
Yes. Something that, I don't know, Hitler might have drawn. If he was drawing what a Jew would look like.
But he was doing mostly flowers, I believe.
Landscapes.
Landscapes, that's right.
Yeah. Never put the tall tower in the middle. You want to move it off to the side. That's somebody had just told Hitler that. He had no problems.
It's a Hitler standby.
Yeah. Anyway, so Ron Paul posts this. It's up for a little while, then it comes down. He says, it was an unfortunate accident by a staffer. Doesn't mention that the staffer's been fired. Doesn't mention anything. Just basically says, sorry about that. Didn't mean to be a racist publicly. And that's
he's done it before. He released a newsletter.
Yeah.
Where he went on some racist nonsense. I don't remember. And then they said, like, he did the same thing where he's just like, well, I have a newspaper with my name on it. I don't read all the things that go into it. But this is something that was written like it was written from him because it included his signature at the bottom.
Yeah, it was a letter or editor's opinion or something like that.
It had Ron Paul's signature on it. So it's I don't know if I'd want, like, if we had an O The Anthem newsletter where I just farmed it out to like people to like put together stories.
Throw my name on it.
The best one you got, just put my signature behind it like I wrote it myself. And then I just open up the O The Anthem newsletter and it's just like, Jews are the cause of all your problems. I'm just like, oh shit.
This is like my Trump thing where I backed Trump for the beginning of the election. I was a Trumper.
I'm going to fire Adolf.
Aye. Nonetheless, this story has taught me that if the Pauls were my neighbors, I'd probably want to punch them in the face too. So maybe we go easy on that guy, huh? How about that? Anyway, to bigger news of the week. The story that surprises no one. North Korea still building nuclear weapons.
Yes.
All right. Next at 6. I mean, was there any expectation that they were actually going to stop? Didn't I say they're not going to stop building them?
Not only that, there's apparently talk within the Trump administration of a second summit. Because the first one
didn't take. It didn't take.
So let's do the exact same thing again, and hopefully this time it'll be okay. Now.
Yeah. It's not gonna work.
Maybe we should put that Nobel on ice too.
Maybe so. Everybody real quick to give Trump the Nobel Prize. Listen, guys.
Didn't even get to Warsaw. Didn't even. Or where is it?
Warsaw?
Yeah, where's the Nobel Peace Prize thing given out every year?
Really?
It's a European European city.
It is. Stockholm, Sweden.
Stockholm, yes.
Just the same as Warsaw, Poland.
Now
yes.
I clearly
right there next to each other on a map. They're like this far apart. So
I was just thinking about cities in Europe, and I knew it wasn't one of the Rome's or Madrid or London or anything like that. It was more
Stockholm,
Eastern.
Sweden.
Yeah.
The Central of Democratic Socialism. Center of Democratic Socialism.
Mm-hmm.
Be good to be a Swede. Speaking of which, I want to move to Canada.
Well, you're going to Canada.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we'll see. If anything ever gets settled, we'll see. Anyway. So, big surprise. North Koreans still building missiles, expanding their missile facilities, still building nukes. Big surprise to nobody.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, moving on. Another news this week. Big story. After the Congress sat on President Obama's final nomination to the Supreme Court, Merrick Garland.
Yep.
They waited and said, we need to have an election to let the people speak about who should pick the next Supreme Court justice. Mm-hmm. And they did. And they appointed someone shortly after the election.
Yep.
Nominated and then confirmed shortly after the election. Now, in the summer of his second year in office, it appears that President Trump is going to have another appointment to make to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
Anthony Kennedy, right? Anthony?
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Kennedy, who is not that old and is not even the
81.
longest. But he's not the longest serving member of the court at this point, I don't think.
No, but I mean, he was put in under Reagan, so
right.
He's had a nice little run.
But still in good health. Unlike Ruth Bader Ginsburg, which, by the way, you still have to go see RBG.
I know.
It's still playing somewhere, I'm sure, in LA.
Yeah, I'll go. That might be a good weekday show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guarantee you that RBG's will says, don't tell anyone I'm dead. Wheel me out there Weekend at Bernie's
Weekend
style.
at Bernie's. It's just a copy of Weekend at Bernie's that gets slipped across the table to whoever.
Weekend at Bader's. Yeah. But so despite all of that, despite the sentiment that we need to keep the court locked right now, Anthony Kennedy announces that he's stepping down after the October term this year. Or was it the June term?
June term.
June term?
Yeah.
So he's done.
Well, I mean, I think he's still on the court for...
Well, they have to decide, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, he's... by October, I think they wanted to have a new justice put in. And
this is all well and good. Generally speaking, justices can be appointed for life, and they can step down whenever they want. Roberts, who's 46 now?
No, not that young.
Yeah, he was like 40 when he was appointed. Sorry, I'm distracted by noises outside.
That wasn't 6 years ago, was it?
Yeah, it was under Bush.
I think he was like at 50 when he...
I thought that he was in his 40s. Oh, shit. He is 63 years old.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That is a good-looking man for 63 years old.
Hail to the chief.
And other than Kagan, youngest man on the court. That is ridiculous.
I didn't think isn't Sotomayor younger than Kagan?
No, Sotomayor is 64. And Kagan's 58.
Okay, so Kagan's got some years.
Yes.
And I guess that's the at least the one thing. I mean, so I know a lot of people have been a lot of Democrats have been freaking out about this. And I will say that losing Kennedy, who has always been the more moderate voice on the court,
yes, for
a hardline right-wing conservative,
which is what we gonna get, just so you know,
is going to make a lot of these close legal battles a little bit more right-leaning than before.
You mean like Roe versus Wade?
Yes.
Yeah.
Though I don't imagine they wouldn't have like a direct appeal to Roe v. Wade. What they basically do, I imagine, is just punt to the states and say states can decide for themselves.
Yes, which will make abortion illegal in 22 to 36 states.
Yeah, because most of these states have already put in things basically saying, like, if Roe v. Wade is overturned, abortion illegal tomorrow in Oklahoma.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we're losing a moderate voice on the Supreme Court.
Though what I was getting at basically though is that we've basically lost two Republicans and we've gained two Republicans, even if Kennedy is more moderate.
Well, no,
and I don't think that. I mean, the thing is that time really does tell with these justices too.
True.
Because a lot of times you're trying to make decisions on how somebody's going to judge based off of how they judge in the cases that are brought before them in their trials.
Yeah.
But they have to, when they're going up against the precedent of before, there's only so much leeway they have in interpreting the law.
Depending on what court they're coming from.
Right.
Now, I've seen that Trump is talking about nominating another woman to the court, and I have my fingers crossed that one of these women is like, I have spent the last 40 years making decisions that made my skin crawl just to get to this point. so that a Republican puts me on the Supreme Court where I have a lifetime appointment.
Just sits down in the chair, gets ready to hear the first case, and just starts breastfeeding her child.
Her grandchild, yes.
I'm not allowed to do this? Are you telling me I don't have a right to do this right here?
So sits down for her first session. She's like, all right, abortion on demand. When are we seeing that? When are we seeing that case?
Why didn't we see this coming from Justice Moonshadow?
But yeah, that's our only hope really at this point. Or that someone in the Democratic Senate caucus gets a spine.
Oh, God.
All you got to do is stand up and talk. And just keep talking. Just keep talking.
Here's the thing. I hate Democrats because
me too.
They just are. I feel like they're never going to fucking learn. If it involved knifing a child, I think Mitch McConnell would do it. If it equals him getting another Supreme Court seat.
Yes.
If somebody was just like, go in the alley, just knife the first child you see, and I'll give you yet another seat.
Yeah.
Then he'd be like, yeah, sure. That kid doesn't mean anything to me. And just go knife the child and then go back in, covered in blood, being like, I have a list. A list of potential nominees.
Yes.
The Democrats won't... They can't be bothered to even bring up... Like, all of them bringing up, like, it was so unfair that you didn't let Garland even have a hearing, and... You said wait till the election results, and now we're in another election year, and you're going to say no to this?
Yeah.
It's just like, first of all, not playing the same game. You have to go every single day in front of media and say, Donald Trump is he is currently under investigation.
Yeah.
There have been charges filed. There are 20 people involved. There's 100 charges. There's people domestic. There are people abroad who are tied into this thing. We don't know anything yet, and you're going to give him 2 seats on the court that will decide probably at the end of the day whether or not he faces punishment for anything that he did.
Yeah. By the way, we should we should impeach the one that we already have on there.
Yeah.
If it comes to find out that he illegitimately won the election, which I mean, it looks like he did. They should impeach. I can't remember who's the new guy.
It's God, why can't I remember his name now? All I can think about is
Oh damn!
The only name I can think of is Scalia, but that's who he was.
Yeah, he replaced Scalia.
Replaced Scalia.
Neil Gorsuch.
Gorsuch, that's right.
Gorsuch should be removed. He should be impeached because if you were an illegitimate president, you cannot be making lifetime appointments, especially if a guy who, although looks older, my guess is he's going to be in that same zone of.
I think he's like 58 or something like that.
He's probably in that zone with 67.
Gorsuch is 67?
No. He's 50 years old. He was born in 1967.
Yeah.
He's 50 years old, which means he's got 30 to 40 years on the court. And he's appointed by an illegitimate president. That cannot be allowed to stand. First of all, as soon as we impeach Trump, you have to go to Gorsuch and be like, listen, bro, no hard feelings. We'll put you up for nomination again.
Yeah.
If you get another Republican
next time there's a Republican president, you can feel free to put your name on that list again.
You're the only candidate who will ever have experience on the Supreme Court.
But here's the problem. And this is the thing. It's kind of like steroids in baseball.
Yeah.
I don't see how you put the ketchup back in the tube, because it's not just Republicans who are currently. It's not just like Gorsuch, but it's all the people that he's named to all these judgeships along the way.
Take them all out.
No, but I'm saying they've made decisions. They've done things. Are we going back on every single trial pre-Trump and rehearing them?
We're gonna do to Trump what he is attempting to do to Obama, and just try to wipe out everything he has done thus far. And basically, you can't undo it. But what you can do is wink, wink, nod, nod. Bring another case.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. But Democrats in Congress have to get a backbone.
There would be way too much to like overturn everything. I mean, that's the thing. And you'd probably be throwing out, like, even if it's a horrible Trump appointee judge, I'm sure there's many slam dunk cases that they've sat in front of.
Alternative plan.
Okay.
Guillotines. Hear me out. So instead of worrying about replacing anybody, we drag them all out by their little feathered hats and their pantaloons, and we put them in the guillotines and chop. and then we just start all over, and we pretend none of that happened. Alternative plan number 2, Cal exit, because then I don't give a fuck what happens to America. You guys can go rot. We'll try to figure out how to fix the California Republic.
What would you think if there was a decision made when Trump eventually gets impeached, if he did, to like as a gimme call for it, as a makeup call? Why don't we give the Democrats the next time they're president 2 Supreme Court seats? Just add it to the total. Instead of 9, it's 11.
All right, FDR, what are you trying to pack the court?
I'm just saying, you get 2 seats.
How about this? Let's bump it up to 15. Let the Democratic president appoint all of those.
Let's make it a little even here.
Sure. No.
No? You wouldn't want it? You wouldn't want 2 seats?
No. I wouldn't want
let
to
bygones be bygones. Just take your 2 seats.
I don't want the 2 seats that way, because that just means that every time a mistake is made, we are just going to start adding people willy-nilly. Or that the president can ask Congress to add another person to the Supreme Court, which, by the way, you would need to change the Constitution to do that.
I mean, what we're going to get now, just based off of what happened in 2016 and what is being talked about right now, is that you're only going to be able to get Supreme Court seats when you have both the presidency and the Senate at the same time.
Yeah.
Because the Republican Senate will just find out any reason not to confirm a Democrat pick, and a Democratic Senate will never confirm a Republican pick, and we're just going to keep going round and round like this until you'll have empty seats for, like, you'll have 3 people dead, 3 open seats, and you're just waiting until you have both the Senate and the presidency at the same time.
Or, hear me out, guillotines. Just cut the problem off and start all over again.
I kind of liked where we were going with the protest discussion before the thing goes.
Right.
Did you want to illuminate this at all?
I want to dive into that, but I got one more point. Okay. All this talk about Kennedy aside, and Trump being able to appoint another one, of course, there is a stink on this whole situation, which is apparently the son of Anthony Kennedy works for Deutsche Bank or Hong Kong Bank, and may or may not have bailed out Trump businesses.
Yeah.
In some way, shape, or form. And essentially, or got bailed out by a Trump business. That would make more sense. I feel like I should have looked more into this story. I just was so seething with rage when I first read it that I was just like, okay, I need to step away.
I can give you one towards guillotines.
Go ahead.
God, I wish I could remember the source now. But somebody has put together a wonderful infographic based off of all the money we know for sure the government has spent on Trump properties and at Trump related things, and it's specific. It has things for like $38.95 on their infographic. Anytime that for instance, let's say George W. Bush becomes president. He owns a large ranch in Texas.
Yeah.
When the Secret Service has to protect this large ranch in Texas, they have to put up new fencing. They have to put in a guard shack. They have to put interior fencing. They have to have people who live on the ranch. Usually they'll modify like a barn or something like that to make like the
quarters.
Place where the Secret Service lives. And they only have to be there when the first family is there. I mean, in full force. There's constant.
Some people are always
there. But Trump, because he lives in Trump Tower, they have to all live in Trump Tower.
Yeah.
And they have to take out office space in Trump Tower. And when his wife and child are in New York for 6 months at the beginning of his presidency, it's costing $15 million a month to keep track of all, to keep them safe. So basically what we figured out is that Trump has personally, to the tune of $16 million profited off him being president.
Sure.
As opposed to Jimmy Carter, who sold his beloved peanut farm.
The peanut farm that he'd had entirely as an adult because he didn't want to have the appearance of impropriety should he ever need to vote on a peanut subsidy.
Did you ever hear about the case involving the Trump Foundation?
Yeah, wait. So they're getting sued, right?
Yeah, so they're getting sued by the state of New York for improper charitable donation or improper charity operations, essentially.
Yeah.
And the judge was asked to delay until after the midterms, and she said, no, Nah, I don't think I'm going to do that.
Yeah, he
and basically, without saying, but clearly hinted that she's not going to hear any kind of arguments as to why Trump can't be here to argue this point.
I will find you in contempt if you do not show up.
Yeah, she was basically like, I think Donald's going to be showing up before the midterms too. So,
God, let's hope so.
Let's all get comfortable.
To get back to the whole point that Kennedy seemed to be out of character to step down now. And it just so happens that his son has some kind of financial connection or benefit from the Trumps.
Mm-hmm.
So the Trumps benefit his son, and all of a sudden his father steps down from the Supreme Court, giving Trump another seat to appoint. Which, it's the kind of thing where, like, again, if this was the only thing, you'd be like, well, that doesn't really smell right. But, I mean, it could be a coincidence. You know what I mean? It could just be that there are business interests, but Trump has clearly, again, in the perfect world, Trump has separated himself from his business interests. The company's running without him. Yeah, ideally, yes, as best he can. And there was some separate business dealing, and Kennedy steps down, but these things are clearly separate. But the stink on all of this is so bad that you cannot give them the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And
especially when there's also stories about him profiting $119 million from Russian-specific investors over the last 10 years who are buying $1 million apartments for $2 million and $400,000 apartments for $1.2 million and stuff like that.
There's a name for that. What's that called?
Money laundering?
Money laundering. Yes, that is what that is. It's where you take illegal money and you buy something for more than it's actually worth. And then you can clean your money.
Yeah. You could sell it later. Or not at all. You could just hold on to it.
Just hold on to it because property always goes up, right? Only so much skyline in New York City or Dubai or Moscow or wherever you're building a Trump Tower. Nonetheless, so back to the point that you brought up earlier, which is Kennedy sucks, and the fact that Trump's going to get to appoint a new justice sucks, and the fact that the Democrats are going to make some crap deal that McConnell will break almost immediately sucks. And the fact that women are going to become second-class citizens, that sucks.
I yelled about it a couple weeks ago when we were first talking about the children and being separated from their parents and everything like that. You remember when they could have said, hey, fuck everybody's winter recess. We're going to finish the budget right now. We're going to shut it down if we don't figure it out. And you could have gotten a deal real quick, but the Democrats are just like, no, we trust Mitch McConnell. He said that he would, the first thing in the new year will be a DACA bill.
Yep.
No DACA bill. Nope. Nothing. The only thing that has literally been passed has been the tax bill, which is falling at 23% favorability. So,
and it's going to cost our children's children trillions of dollars.
Right.
So, congratulations, Democrats.
Did you real quick before we get out? Did you want to give a 30-second rant on protests?
I did. So
guillotines and
this weekend, and much to their credit, I think something like 15 million Americans all across the country, and they're saying like maybe 80 million people worldwide got out and protested the U.S.'s policy at their southern border. Here's my problem, folks. If you can get 15 million people in the street, there is no reason you can't change anything that you want. The problem is, you guys don't really want to change. You want to post a picture of yourself on Instagram with some witty fucking sign marching in the street. And as soon at the first sign of trouble, you skedaddle. You're a bunch of sheep asking for permission from the shepherd to do something. And yeah, maybe you like wander a little far away, but as soon as they bring that staff down on you, you're right back in line. So don't say that you want to do something about what's happening at the border. Don't say that you want to change policy. Because if you did, Sylvia Oscar Cordia, the woman who won in New York.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Was that close?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think he basically got the initials right.
Yeah, it's SOC.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
All right. If people like her would have won nationwide in primaries if you really wanted to affect change. But you don't. You want to get out with your fucking signs. You want to have a little drum circle out in downtown LA where we all dance and we listen to the pre-canned, pre-chosen speakers who say a lot of things and don't actually accomplish anything. If I could put 15 million people in the street who believed what I believed, there is nothing that would stop you. Absolutely nothing. When DHS blocks the road with 100 people and you have 6,000 people behind you, why do you stop? Why? There are 6,000 of you and there are 100 of them. And yes, they have pepper spray and fire hoses and billy clubs. Do you have her name?
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez.
So close. No. But her, that woman. Yes. There would be a lot of hers, but there's not. But if you have 6,000 people behind you and 100 DHS cops line up, you just charge them. You bash them over the head. You look at any other country where their civilians are treated the way that we are treated by our police and figure out how to deal with it. Look what happens in China. Look what happens in Greece. Look what happens in Russia, of all places.
You know where else it happens? All the countries that are sending their people here.
Yeah.
Because the United States has interfered in their natural elections or decided that they want to side with the police forces that are beating down a certain aspect of the country they find undesirable.
Yeah.
Interesting number I found out just this weekend. Only 3% of the people who are getting detained at the actual border are Mexicans.
Yeah. They're all Central American?
Yeah. I mean, it's 97% is, Guatemala and Honduras and El Salvador and all the others. Southern American.
Civil War.
Yeah. Who are trying to escape situations that are largely the doing of America.
Yeah. By the way, the people they're fleeing are death squads that were funded by Americans with American guns and American equipment.
And American money.
Yeah. And by the way, we did money and guns to both sides and then just let them kill each other. And then the cartel and the gangs got some of those guns.
The most corrupt end up at the top. Because the U.S. can't stay there and monitor the whole situation forever.
Right.
We're just going to give you some guns to even this out a little bit, and you'll sort it out on your own. Guatemala will figure it out.
We lose interest. It's like, we want to do this thing. Oh, wait. There's somebody over there needs some freedom. Yeah, you guys handle this.
Yeah, you're good. You got it.
No, so if you guys really wanted to affect change, you absolutely could. The truth is that you don't. You want to be seen as caring without actually costing yourself anything, which is fine. I would be fine if you admitted that. If you carried a little witty-ass sign that says, this is all I'm willing to do, then great.
I'm only doing this for Instagram.
Sure. I would be fine with that. It sucks, but at least you're being honest. You're being dishonest when you can have 1 million people in LA in like 4 or 5 different rallies. And LA is probably a bad example because we're a sanctuary city. And, but you know what? LAPD kills more people than any other police force in the country. If you can get 1,000 people, if you can get 1 million people out, there is nothing you cannot do. ICE is 15 years old. There's no reason why it needs to exist. But you don't call your congressman. You don't hold them to account. Even in the primaries, other than the Republicans who stepped down, we are having about a 96% return rate on incumbents. One of the 4% is that district in Western Manhattan.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise, 96% return rate for people who are running again in the fall. That is fucking ridiculous.
To be fair, though, that is primaries. So it is...
Yeah, there's a possibility that...
It is hard to outseat a standing... Usually you see parties switch more.
Yeah, that's true.
So, I mean, like you'll have Devin Nunes win his primary, but will he win the general election?
The being upset about Trump did not impact nearly what I thought it would be. Because I thought Republicans were going to say, and maybe I'm in my own little sounding board of like Republicans who were like, this is not my party. I'm not going to vote for somebody like this. But they did.
I really don't get that part. And it's the one part I don't think I'll ever understand is the people. Like, I feel like somewhere deep inside of me, I'm still mostly Republican.
Yeah.
If we're breaking down the
well, you're a Trumper. You admitted that just a few
No,
minutes ago.
I'm not. But I'm saying, like, I can't believe the number of people who are standing by Trump, despite how nothing looks like it's a good idea. It'd be like if I went to Vegas and I was just like, I believe in the Orioles so much, I'm going to put down $1,000 that they win the World Series this year.
Right now?
Yeah, right this very second.
Ooh,
I love the Orioles so much, and they won't hurt me. And you'd be like, Cory, there's very clear information that the Orioles are not only going to not make the playoffs, but would not have a chance to win the World Series. And it's like,
I think they're statistically eliminated at this point.
Nope. I believe in them. They're the ones who are going to do it for me in the end. There's no way I get burned by this thing. You know, it's like you wouldn't even if you were a single girl and you were trying to set her up with your single friends, you would not point her towards Trump and be like, "Oh, he's not going to cheat on you. I know for a fact." Like, no, he will. He's done it. We have. It's like he has proven himself to be less than stellar many times throughout his entire life, and I don't know why people are like so like no, he's the one who's going to guide us to salvation.
Here's my point overall. You guys are a bunch of fake assholes. If you really want to change, you could affect change, but you don't. You want to look like you affect change without it costing you anything. Nothing has been earned. John, God damn it, his name, last name
McCain?
No, had his head broken open in Selma.
Oh, yes, Lewis.
John Lewis says, "Tell me where you need me to be. I'll go to the border. I'll have them crack my skull open again. I'll get arrested again." And the man's 85 years old, and I fully believe that he would.
Yeah.
That he would go down there and make ICE on camera beat him with billy clubs and drag him away.
Yeah.
There was a rabbi in Portland, 85 years old. The rabbi, they're just like, "Listen, man, we don't want to do this. If you just leave, we're going to let you go." And he's like, "Okay." And he stands up, struggles to his feet, grabs the mic, and then berates ICE for 15 minutes, sits down, and they're like, "All right." And then they come over and they arrest him. That's the guy you want.
Yeah.
I don't want you hitting the rabbi who's 85 because he'd probably die. John Lewis is a little more spry in his 80s. But these things cost blood. They cost effort. They cost you your freedom overnight or for a few days. And if you're not willing to do that, then all of it's just talk. So do you really care about it or do you not?
I would say this, just to talk about sort of like a half measure that's been put out there. Maxine Waters had suggested if you don't like what the administration is doing, tell them when you see them kind of thing.
Yeah.
So if you see somebody you don't like at a restaurant, then berate them in public and stuff like that.
Yep.
It's a bold strategy. It's going to lead to that happening on both sides, though, and us never ever getting out of it. I would rather have just gone the entire way and said, rather than like berate people as you see them at the gas station and stuff like that, like, "Hey, if you feel this strongly that we're getting fucked, why don't we all meet at the White House this Tuesday at 8:00 and we're taking the gates?" Like, Auntie Maxine's gonna be up front. We're going through the gates.
Yeah. Sometimes we're going to have to take a round. Not all of us are going to walk out of there.
We're going to walk right into the Oval Office. Somebody's going to sit on Donald's back. We're going to tie him up. We're going to drag him out into the public square, and we're going to murder him. It's just like, wow, Maxine Waters, you have taken that.
Murder is not what that is.
Yeah.
That is capital punishment. We don't call capital punishment murder.
No,
this
that's
is
true.
The people taking back their government. But to Maxine Waters, I say, yes, we could berate people in public, but I have an alternative plan.
This is just going to end up with the next
Guillotines.
Democratic administration just having people like at Wendy's or wherever they are, just getting yelled at.
Well, no, it's going to be Maxine
like
Waters.
no matter who the person is. Like, if you're going to start yelling at people, like Scott Pruitt got yelled at in a restaurant.
Deservedly so.
Oh, I'm not saying it's not deservedly so, but I'm saying like Scott Pruitt got yelled at. So whoever the next version is for the Democrats is going to get yelled at a Fridays too.
Unless, he doesn't use the EPA jet to do private flights. And
there's no way any of that matters.
Well, no. See,
I mean, like,
you think that the discourse is the same on both sides? Maxine Waters is going to get shot. Because that's the discourse.
Yeah.
The liberals, the left.
I mean, just go back to what happened in Annapolis.
Yeah. The liberals, those on the left, we go and we yell at Sarah Huckabee Sanders in a restaurant. What do they do on the right? They shoot 5 members of the media because they were saying things they didn't like. Maxine Waters got death threats because credible death threats.
Yeah.
Because she said, let's go meet them where they are and get in their face.
Yeah.
And people threatened her life. And still, by the way, probably the most badass thing since Omar from The Wire. You get a death threat that if you go to this rally on Saturday, we are going to kill you. And what does she do? She goes to the rally. The third or fourth thing she says, she gets on the mic is, I got some death threats if I came here. Well, let me tell you something. If you're going to shoot me, you better shoot straight. And I'm like, oh! If you come at the queen, you best not miss. Or alternative guillotines. Just saying. We could all do that. It would be fine. I have a book for all of you. It's called Capital by Karl Marx. I have a copy in my bag right now.
Well, if you want other independent, or if you want other fun ideas for your Independence Day celebration, you know where you can find it? OTheanthem.com. Cory to OTheanthem.com. O The Anthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. Oh, me? You can find more of me at CoryBakerFilmmaker.com, at LegendCB5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, Cory Baker Film on Facebook. The Hereditary review is out.
Ooh.
Something that I swear to God, I actually thought I posted last week. And then when I went onto YouTube today, I was just like, oh shit, still unlisted.
Still private. Okay.
All right. Well, I guess that's going up today. And Jurassic World review coming up Thursday. I think Thursdays are going to be my day. I'm just going to make a day where I have to release a new video. And I think Thursday is going to be that. So look for that on Thursday.
An update. Those are going to come real fast and loose over the next few weeks because MoviePass, looking to raise $1.2 billion in the next few weeks, doesn't bode well.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to take advantage while we can.
Hopefully they open up that Alamo Draft House really quickly because I want to take it.
So we're going to have to see a bunch of movies real quick.
I'm like Johnny Drama. Like, I don't want to go back to New York, bro. I've gotten acclimated. I don't want to go to AMC, bro. I don't want to leave downtown.
I don't want to have to drive to Burbank. God,
Yeah.
that sounds horrible. But if you're looking for more from me, you can find that at Robert and Cheek on all your social networks. Of course, you can check out robertandcheek.com, where you can find links to my political blog, the news website, and the books, which are available on Amazon.
Barrow's Books.
Thank you, sir. And of course, one message that you just threw there in the end, and I just want to clarify. You know why we celebrate July 4th?
Just kidding.
It's the Declaration of Independence. And I say, what better way to celebrate the 223rd anniversary, 224th anniversary, 222nd anniversary, right? 222nd? 76?
1776?
Yeah. No.
No.
Maybe more than 20. 42nd? 242nd. 76, 86, 96, 106.
Don't worry about it. It's not that important.
116, 42. The best way to celebrate the 242nd anniversary of our country is just in the spirit as they intended, with a little revolution. Or alternatively, guillotines. Oh, wait, that's the same thing. Never mind.
Well, I think we've done good here today.
We've done something. I don't know if it's good. But as always, you have been listening to the O The Anthem podcast, part of the O The Anthem digital network. For Cory, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Shunk.